And yet you still feel like something is missing. The realization itself lands fully in you as you continue to, just as Saniel pointed out, drop into the divinity of your humanity and the embrace of all sides of who you are, and also the embrace of the other. This is what we mean about mutuality, really doing the work together, supporting each other. There's a term called green lighting, which is really allowing and holding individuals in whatever their process is revealing to them, and green lighting them to go further, to dare to explore, to dare to drop deeper into some of the cutting edges that may be very difficult to explore, and yet your being is saying, I have to go there, because I know this is the wisdom of my body. This is the wisdom of my own process. And I wanted to give that little piece of, to bring the other side of the seeker.
Yes, thank you. And also, I think it's probably good for us at the outset here, we just sort of jump right into the meat of the work today. There's a couple of kind of key points that we want to emphasize going in. One is we're making no assumption whatsoever that you're here for anything other than this day. We're certainly going to invite you to explore our work and hopefully create a thriving community of people here in the UK who are living in the way that we're talking about. But we're simply assuming that you're here for what you signed up for and nothing more. And should you find that this is going to be your last contact with us or people in our network, meshwork to use Tessa's word from yesterday, blessings on your journey. May you find, we trust that you are finding your way in your unique natural course, and wherever that takes you is where we want you to feel that we're blessing you, even if it's going in a different direction and we don't see each other. Another thing that's really key for the work today is that anything that you say that's personal and private to you, let's all assume that this is being held in confidence. In the smaller groups, especially when we do some of that work, we won't be taking a long time at it, but you may find yourself moved to share things that are quite personal and intimate, and if so, let's all hold a trust that no one else is going to go out and say, well, so-and-so was at the group and they said blah, 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 blah. Even in the abstract, well, there was a woman there, because as it turns out, the circles are more interconnected than we may altogether know, and so we can all honor that, I assume.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
That creates a really safe container for everyone to feel like they can dare to speak something that's difficult. And even really in the large group, sometimes when individuals have something that, oh, it's so difficult to talk about, and yet something's really pulling me to speak this, what happens quite often is that when you dare to speak a vulnerable place within your own life and process, others can relate to it so much, and then they can go, oh, I'm so glad that person said that, because I can relate in my own process in life on some level. So that opens up a space of where we're creating that safety of expression.
So, to kind of go back to some of the stream of what we were presenting earlier, about 12, 13, 14 years after my work began, and we had at that point at least dozens, if not maybe 100 or more people who had gone through this basic awakening, we had enough of a kind of a gene pool to start noticing that other questions were coming up. A principal one being, okay, I'm awake, I'm not seeking divine being anymore in any fundamental way. Now what? And that crystallized itself into the question, what am I here for? What's my purpose? And my orientation is let's take it all the way to the big D word that is a little hard for some of us to kind of strap on the seatbelt of, what's my destiny? And to me, this is actually quite a profound question, not only in terms of what people go through to clarify their destiny, but also the fact that each of us is so unique. Linda likes to say that ours is not a cookie-cutter process. Everyone who comes into it has such a unique path and avenue of what they go through in each of the stages. And this fundamental awakening, second birth, whatever we call it, really only is a birth. It's an important transition. But then there are many awakenings beyond that, and changes and growth that are possible. And so it became obvious, both in my own experience of what I'm here for, and Linda, and seeing and working with others, that this had to be addressed. And thus emerged a teaching that is, we call the Force of Destiny. So this presentation today is using that particular language. Another thing about me is that I don't believe that any map or any language is even remotely close to sufficient. And the last thing, I'd like for people to understand what I'm talking about in ways where I feel like, oh good, you get it. That's good. But I don't want anybody to be feeling like, well, this is the next great sacred holy language and this is the only way we can talk about it. So even as a teacher myself, it's boring to me to use the same language again and again. So in this framework of our consideration of the Force of Destiny, we talk about things with some specific terms that we've developed just for this. And you'll see in a few moments that some of them are pretty unusual, or maybe in some ways unexpected. So what we'll be doing today is, as Linda was indicating, it's going to be experiential, we'll be presenting, and what we're hoping is that you get a taste, a sniff of something that really isn't kind of reducible to words and concepts, but is a feeling sense of what's possible for you. I had a friend of mine who'd been a long-time seeker, and we'd been in the same community for many years. And after I left and began teaching, he found his way into our work. And at a certain point early on, he said, you know, I didn't even know it until I started working with you. But I actually put my hope to sleep about 12 years ago. And now I feel hope coming back. And certainly if any of you have any inkling of that kind of feeling, one of our hopes is that you come away from today with renewed hope, wherever your journey takes you. Thank you.